Today we have Dr. Lara Kossover, and she's a chiropractor at Soulshine Chiropractic Clinic in Brooklyn, New York. How are you, Dr. Lara?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, good. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and how you got into chiropractic?
Kind of got into chiropractic by accident. I'll try to keep the story short, even though it's so long and fascinating. But I ended up just kind of going into a chiropractic office with a free coupon, and I just knew I would feel good because my cousin, who's a chiropractor, adjusted me once, and it felt really good. And I just wanted to feel good. You know, I wasn't in any pain or anything. So I went in, and Brian, who was the chiropractor there, explained to me everything about chiropractic. He kept it really simple. I thought it was really fascinating. And I was shocked to find that, like, not everybody knew about chiropractic. Like, if everybody knew and understood just the simple, profound truth of what chiropractic is, then everybody would be running to their chiropractor because you feel good, inside, you feel good outside. It just changed my life for the better in a very positive way. And I signed up for 3 months of unlimited care, like
Oh, wow.
that day. And before those 3 months were up, I was working for him. I was his CA, which was great because I needed a job. And by the end of the year, I was off to chiropractic school. And, the rest is history. And now I have Soulshine Chiropractic Studio in Park Slope, Brooklyn. Yay!
Oh,
My little
wow.
utopia. Yes.
So what's the best part?
So
What's the best part for you in chiropractic?
when I first got adjusted, I felt like something inside me woke up, and it was like part of my purpose in life to be a chiropractor and to
Mm-hmm.
feel that sense of connection to my purpose
Mm-hmm.
was probably one of the most profound feelings I'd ever felt. So when I make adjustments to people, I'm not just focusing on taking away their pain, I'm focusing on putting them in alignment with their purpose. My niche is with pregnant women.
Okay.
I like adjusting pregnant women. So a lot of women come into me when their babies are breech, and they hear
Mm-hmm.
that chiropractic can help turn their babies. So I explain to them that I'm not actually going to be turning their baby. I'm just going to be making an adjustment, and their body is going to be turning their baby because that's what babies do. They turn head down before they're born. So I love hearing stories about how, that would work, but it did, and their babies are head down, and they avoided C-sections, and their births were easy, and those are my favorite.
Oh,
Those are my
wow.
favorite.
That's pretty cool. Pregnancy chiropractic. So
Oh yeah.
so what's the worst part, or I guess the hardest part of what you do?
Um, the hardest part is it's actually pretty rare. On a rare occasion, I'll get somebody really difficult, somebody really cynical,
Mhm.
someone with a really bad attitude, someone who will come in and almost look for something to complain about, and then they'll write a really bad review for me on like
Oh
Google or Yelp.
no.
Yeah, and and it's worse when it happens on Yelp because Yelp, it's almost like they love showing the bad reviews first.
Hmm.
So it's funny. My husband caught one of the bad reviews yesterday on Yelp. He's like, "You should just have Soulshine taken off of Yelp." I was like, "We get some good reviews on there too." It was like, let people see what they see because um, you know, let them make their own decision. But it does kind of stink when you really do your best. You take the time out to explain what it is you do, and you really do your best to make someone feel better. But when they have a certain expectation and you don't meet that
Hmm.
expectation, then they get upset. Like somebody came in with a very complicated, very specific condition, and I explained in great detail what it is I do, and how it could potentially help. But I'm not going to be focusing on your condition. I'm going to be
Hmm.
focusing on you. I'm going to be focusing on your whole well being, like your spiritual mindset, your physical mindset, what are you eating? What are you putting in your system? It's almost like when people go to a doctor, they focus on what's wrong and how to get rid of it.
Do you think there's a specific
Yeah.
age demographic that is harder to reach or harder to connect with?
Um, well, I don't know. I think I was thinking about this one. some people who are like baby boomers, unless they've been to a chiropractor, are very cynical about chiropractors because
Mm.
way back when they were young, there was actually a campaign against chiropractic by the AMA to just kind of boycott them, to call them
Mm.
quacks. A lot of chiropractors went to jail for
Okay.
practicing medicine without a license, but it's only because they were so successful. So the MDs were actually really threatened. I mean, when you could potentially lose like thousands of dollars in a patient over a $50 adjustment. It's like, oh no,
Right.
we got to get rid of these chiropractors. So it was actually a very famous court case, Wilkes versus the AMA, where this little small town chiropractor sued this huge AMA and won. And then the AMA
Wow.
appealed, and they lost their appeal because, like, it was pretty obvious that they were set out to destroy the chiropractic profession. So I know how awesome chiropractic is, and those who have been adjusted know how awesome it is. So um, it's like, if you want to take a pill for your pain, go ahead, but it's not gonna, really fix the
Right.
problem. And I think in some, it's like a 50-50 with like young millennials, because there's a very strong like science minded, like, is it science, is it scientific,
They want answers.
um, and yeah, and but there's also that desire to find an alternative, to find, like a more
Mm.
holistic alternative. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try to keep it simple, and I just turn on my charm, and
So
and hopefully that'll work.
do you strictly practice chiropractic, or do you do like stem cells and other kind of regenerative techniques?
No, I try to I keep it simple. It also keeps my malpractice premiums down.
Okay. Okay.
I just do hands on. Sometimes I'll use what's called an activator, which is a spring loaded instrument. My approach is very gentle, so it's not your typical twist 'em and pop 'em kind of
Okay.
chiropractic adjustment. My husband works there also 1 day a week. He does the more traditional stuff. So if you want something like that, then he really gives you your money's worth. He does like muscle work, and he'll adjust you. And we also have an amethyst biomat, which isn't
Oh,
chiropractic, but it's awesome. It's this amethyst filled crystal mat that I put on a massage table, and it's
wow.
heats up to various degrees, and the amethyst releases far infrared heat and negative ions, which facilitates a positive cell regeneration process. So the healthy cells in your body flourish, and the unhealthy cells just kind of fall away. And it's very relaxing, really awesome. And it's like when people, on some social media comments, it's like, oh, chiropractors with their crystal mats and their woo. I'm like, that's me. That would be me, yes. And it's awesome. It's like, don't knock until you tried it. It's awesome. But yeah, it's that's pretty much it. That's
Okay,
pretty much it.
that's cool. So, okay, so businesses usually struggle, entrepreneurs in general struggle in four areas, and that's money, time, people, and passion. So, which would you say is your greatest struggle? And then I guess is that in chiropractic in general? Do you find that in chiropractic in general?
For me, I think it's money, because I'm in Brooklyn, and I'm in a really expensive part of Brooklyn, and my rent is incredibly high, and it goes
Mm,
up every month, and not every month, every year.
okay.
So it's hard to try and keep my fees. I try to keep my fees as affordable as possible, and I have a tendency to put people before money, which is probably why money is kind of a struggle.
Okay.
But also, I there it's just me running the show, so I have to do everything, like the administrative, the marketing,
Mm,
paying the bills, like all the logistical stuff that I'd rather focus on taking care of people. Like, if only I could just do that.
mm,
But yeah, so I'd probably say money, but knock wood, I've been around longer than some other businesses that I've seen open and shut since I'm there, so I must be doing
mm,
something right. So,
okay. Okay.
and then the chiropractic in general, I think in chiropractic school, they don't really teach you much about running a business. They
Okay.
don't teach you much about marketing yourself. Just recently, chiropractors have started publishing research on the many successes that they've had. Because before it was just like the proof is in the pudding. Come in and get adjusted. And there were so many amazing stories of like chiropractors who help people walk again, or who help
Mhm.
people heal from cancer, or help people who couldn't have babies finally get pregnant. And um, I've heard stories of like people who had polio who were able to walk again. It's just amazing just to hear like the actual people tell their stories, but then to hear cynical people who've never been to a chiropractor like, oh,
Mm,
chiropractor's quackery. It's like, no, it's not. So just
yeah.
like over the past, I think probably I'd say around 10 years or so, there's been three publications that I subscribe to where I'll get new research like every week on children who had problems wetting the bed. They go to a chiropractor.
Mhm.
They don't want the bed anymore. Infertility issues resolved. Neurological issues resolved. There's amazing things that you never thought like, oh, chiropractic can help that. But
Mhm.
these are case studies where it's like they went for a specific kind of adjustment and they got well. So
Wow.
yeah.
When a patient comes into your office, is it like a typical kind of cold, exam room type feeling, or do you
Oh
talk about
no.
their life and their
Oh
problems?
yeah, I have them fill out a questionnaire with a lot of strange questions about it. Like I ask about like past traumas. I ask about what their birth process was like. Was their mother stressed out? And was there anything going on while their mom was
Wow.
pregnant with them?
Oh, wow, all
I'll
the
ask
way
them
back to
about family
their own
history,
birth.
like all the
Wow.
way back to the womb. Like
Wow.
because like what when mommies feel stress, babies feel it too. And
Mhm.
when they come into the world, into that stressful environment, it has an effect on them, even though it's like they're just fresh and new and innocent. And just to not to say that I'm going to fix it, but
Mhm.
to bring their awareness to the various stresses in their life and how it could be affecting their health, and their mindset and their well-being. And I asked them, like, how important is it for you to be happy? How important is like overall level of joy in your life? How like do you want to be physically well? Do you want to be mentally
Mhm.
well? I asked them about like
Mhm.
so I bring it up. I was like, these are cookie questions, aren't they? They're like, yeah, I don't expect to hear this in a chiropractor. And I tell them, I tell them, it's just important for me to get a whole idea of what's going on, and just to change their perspective. Because, like I said, I'm not a typical doctor. I'm
Mhm.
gonna uh, tell you things that you're not gonna hear from another doctor. I'm gonna, just either say the opposite or say not so much say the opposite, but just give you a different perspective
Mhm.
on what's going on. Like I was taking care of a pregnant woman yesterday, and she was talking about how her husband was being really stressed out at work, and like the people he worked with were saying, "You really don't need to take care of that. You don't need to fix this. You don't need to fix that." I was like, "Maybe he's nesting too," and she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh wow, maybe." Like just trying to get things in order. It's like one
Wow.
thing women tend to do when they're pregnant. They just like they. Do you ever hear like she goes into labor and she's all of a sudden on the floor scrubbing the floor? It's like with nesting, you just like insane about like preparing the environment for your baby. I was like, maybe he's nesting. So
Wow.
she was able to kind of
Interesting.
like, oh, okay. So she was able to let go of that stress and maybe a little bit of animosity. So bring
Mhm.
a little bit of harmony back. So
Wow. So transitioning a little bit, what would your family and friends describe you like outside of your practice?
outside of my practice, ooh, well, you'd probably have to ask them. But I'm definitely I don't think the same way as others. I have a different perspective. I might be a little bit outspoken. I might um, be a little controversial.
Okay.
Um,
So how can viewers learn more about you? Like, where can they find you?
they can find me in Park Slope, Brooklyn.
Soulshine Chiropractic. And what's your website?
Soulshine. SoulshineChiropractic.com.